Welcome to 67 Nova. We appreciate you guys being here. Thanks a lot. In an earlier video, we tried to figure out, I asked you guys for some input to help me decide what to put in this car. And I've got to tell you, the 327 is by far the sentimental favorite. I got a lot of comments that were posted. I received a lot of stories and private emails, and 327 is kind of the favorite for everybody. It's like the honey badger of small block engines. It's not real powerful as far as, doesn't have a lot of cubic inches, but it's really bad to the bone. However, the camera lady made up her mind for us, for all of us, I guess, when she walked up and she said, by the way, what about May? And I don't know anybody named May. I think she meant, what about me? That's her southern accent. And then she proceeded to tell me how she wanted a 60 Chevy, 383 Power Glide. She wanted automatic air, power steering, power brakes, and that was her classic car. And since she helps me shoot video, she felt like that this engine and transmission combination should go in her classic car. So we're going to compromise. We'll build a Torker 383 here, a good street Torker 383, put the Power Glide behind it, beef it up, drop it in the Nova, get a few thousand miles on it, swing it out, and then I'll build the bad 383 with the stroker kit and forged pistons and good rods and the whole thing. I have no idea what this is. I call it a pig in a poke because that's how I bought it. I see some things externally that look okay, and a lot of warning signs that have me bothered. And so what we're going to do is just take a look at it. We'll tear it down and see if this thing is really a pig or not. But we'll make a good street torker out of it for the 60 Chevy. Let's take a look. The email or the phone call about this engine, I was told it was a 4-bolt main block, 383 stroker kit, intake, carburetor. They thought it had roller rockers, had a fancy oil pan. Supposed to be a real good built engine. That's all they knew about it. The guy actually took it on a trade, and it's supposed to have aluminum heads. So when I got there, I found out that the heads are just painted aluminum. They're not actually aluminum heads. What we have is Chevy Vortec heads. However, Chevy Vortec heads are good heads. They're good torker heads. And they said they ran it on an engine test stand for about 20 minutes, breaking it in. And I can see the rusty water here and the rust down in the gooseneck, so it looks like it has been run. Another indication is the exhaust ports are all sooted up. And sooted up spark plug, so it has run. I was told that it hit a real good lick and was a good runner. Other than that, they didn't know anything else about it. So Vortec heads as opposed to aluminum heads, supposedly run for 20 minutes and broken in. Now let's talk about the heads just a minute, because since then I got some paperwork on the engine. I received this handwritten note. It says 383 stroker Vortec heads, scat crank, Chet Herbert cam, Eagle I-beam rods, board, B-O-A-R-E-D. Obviously that's a warning sign, and you can't even spell board. Board 40 degrees, I guess that means 40 over, 40 thousandths over, and a quick fuel 750 carb. Well, just the spelling and that sort of thing scares me. But when I got to looking, then I found the cam card, and it is Doug Herbert cam. I did some internet search on it, and it says upper mid to top end cam, up to 7,000 RPMs. And when I look back over here, I noticed that the oil pan and the oil pump, the pickup that he bought, the oil pump and the pickup that he bought, is for a 4-wheel drive truck. So I'm wondering now, why does somebody want a 7,000 RPM cam in a 4-wheel drive truck? Another warning sign. Got to looking at the lift on it, 490 and 510. Now, Vortec heads are good for about 420, I believe. So we're way out of limits on the heads. So my internet search tells me that maximum lift for that Vortec should be about 420, and you're pushing it at about 470. 470. We got a cam here that's 490 and 510, so there's another warning sign, at least to me, that the guy doesn't have a clue what he's doing on this engine when he built it. Also, he has a mixed bag here. He should have got a rotating balance assembly, all from one person. Looks like he may have bought a crank from Scat and then turned around later, bought the rods, and I don't even know about the pistons, so I'm sure what he has is just a mismatched rotating assembly as opposed to being a balanced assembly. If he just stuck it together, I have no idea, as far as balancing that engine is going to be. I don't trust it unless he took it to a machine shop and had all the rotating assembly balanced. So we'll take it apart. I'm starting to see warning signs. Let's move on. Okay, I'm seeing a new alternator, actually a rebuilt alternator. That's good. It's an SI, later model SI. System's integrated, built-in voltage regulator type. There's some nice chrome on here. Looks pretty nice. But then I look at the bracket, and what do I see? Right there. No attaching point on this end. This is made for a different type of intake manifold. We got a Vortec that won't bolt up. I wouldn't use that bracket. That doesn't look good. That's something that bothers me. It's one of those warning signs. I'm seeing an ugly junk air cleaner. Excuse me, I'm not too sharp today. Air cleaner. Slayer carburetor 750 CFM vacuum secondaries. I like vacuum secondaries on a street car. I don't like that junk air cleaner. Let's see if we can pull that up and out of the way. There we go. We'll just set this on the table and get it out of the way. It's got a nice dual line on it with a fuel gauge. And I hear the Slayer carburetors are pretty decent. I always preferred Holly, but what the crap, we'll take it. Any idea what this is? You guys help me out. Maybe a port for a PCV valve or something? I'm not sure. Anybody knows, let me know. And we've got some brackets for the wiring, spark plugs. That's pretty cool. Set that down and out of the way. But when I look at the intake, another warning sign. Jeez Louise. Look here. Galvanized fitting. Now why would you put an ugly junk galvanized fitting on a new polished aluminum intake? No idea. Another one back here. Let's walk around here. I'm seeing the same thing. That tells me this guy doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Not having real warm fuzzy feelings right now about the engine. And then, lo and behold, look, he broke it. He broke the intake manifold, screwed that fitting in too tight, broke it, and somebody's come back and welded it. Looks like a good weld, but again, another warning sign for me. Alright, let's take off some of these accessories, the alternator, and I like the nice pulleys, and the pulleys are new. Water pump looks like it's new or rebuilt. We'll pull all this off and then take a closer look at the engine. I'm going to give away my age. This is my first carburetor stand. I bought that probably, I don't know, maybe 1960, 67. It's adjustable. They're ideal stands. What I used to build carburetors with, so we're going to set it on the Slayer. And that way it keeps it up and off. Don't have to worry about damaging any butterfly valves or anything. It makes it a convenient way to build a carburetor. This is what looks like a new set of wires. Really nice. But then what do I find? It's burned. How do you burn a spark plug wire on the coil end? I don't have a clue. Here's another burn here where it was obviously against exhaust manifold or set of headers or something. But again, another warning sign. Starting to look like a pig. You guys help me out a little bit. What is the purpose of these hoses? I'm assuming something to do with equalizing the cooling or something. I'm not real familiar with this particular intake. They go from front to back on each side. Any information you can tell me about that, I would appreciate it. It's ugly. What are you doing? Surely you're not using galvanized fittings and just running hoses across the top of the engine like that. So what are you doing? If you have some pictures you can post or send me, that'd be great. Also, the valve covers, they're obviously Vortec heads. I can see the 4 bolts on the top, but there's no two big breathers on here. There's no way to add oil to the engine, nor is there any fittings for PCV valves. So I'm not sure what he had in mind here. These things are a bear to take off. I guess you can get it out. I don't know. I can't twist it out. It doesn't want to pry out. So I'm not sure what the thinking is behind that. We're rumored to have roller rockers, so let's take a look and see. And we do have roller rockers. Okay. Roller rockers it is. Take a closer look in just a minute. I was happy, but it didn't last long. Look what I just found. Put a light on it. Right there. Right where the valve cover bolts go through, grinding into the roller rockers. Now there's metal in the engine. Here's another one. Same way. All the way down. Well, we had a real engine builder here. Let's check the other side. Same thing. That's just great. Now you would think you could hear that when the engine was running. Evidently not. Alright, we got problems. Mama, we have metal in the engine. Let's take a closer look. As I recall, Vortec heads have self-aligning rocker arms. But this one has Manley valve guides, number 42355, which would substitute for the self-aligning rocker arms. I'm seeing the wear pattern on the inside right there. And right there. Right where the valve cover bolts go through. I've installed some valve cover bolts just to see. And it looks like there's plenty of clearance. So we can get a little better look. I don't see any clearance problems, but it's obvious by the wear pattern on the bolts and the wear pattern on the rocker arms that those have been rubbing at some point in time. We'll get a side view here, closer look down low. There we go, that's a better view. Alright, you guys help me out here. What's your idea on this? Oink oink. I should have listened to you, Mama. I think we have a pig and a poke. No identification markings of any kind on the intake, but it's an air gap. I like that. Polished aftermarket intake of some type. That air gap is something that actually was rubbed from Chrysler. I remember them doing something like that with their ram induction systems years ago. air gap manifold, unidentified. If the weld's good though, I think we'll use it. Okay, look what I just found. The intake manifold bolts. They're only finger tight. Trying to do this left-handed and hold the camera at the same time, so excuse my clumsiness. Look at that. Finger tight. Well, that one's not even finger tight. I turned it by hand. Same thing. I guess this guy never heard of a torque wrench. Let's try another one here. Same way. Oh well. I don't have a good warm fuzzy feeling about the engine. I hope the metal shavings hasn't ruined anything. Maybe the filter caught most of it and we'll get lucky. We'll see. Again, just finger tight. Oh well. Let's continue tearing it down. The intake has no identification marks, but I guess I can figure out why. This one's made in China. Another thing I always wondered about, when you lay the silicone rubber on each end, which GM's small blocks are bad to leak here, it oozes out on the front side. So obviously it's oozing out on the back side, on the inside of the engine. I always wondered how much of that, if any, gets in the engine. This looks like it's all stuck together pretty good. Let's walk over here, take a look at the inside, lift our valley, and see if we see anything. And actually, it looks really clean. See one little piece right there that I probably broke loose. Keep my finger off the zoom. That it probably broke loose. The lifter valley looks clean. So I guess while that silicone is oozing out on both sides, it's sticking to itself and maybe not falling inside the engine. What do you think? It's obvious we have a flat tappet cam, hydraulic lifters, no play. Lifter valve is clean. I don't see any metal. I don't see any kind of metal shavings. The only little bit of metal that I see is a little bit right there in that pocket, and you can't see it. Right there in the pocket by the head bolt, there's just a little bit of aluminum shavings there. So hopefully the filter, oil filter, caught most of it. We didn't damage anything. Alright, we have a new harmonic balancer. It says Pro Street. And it's marked off for your timing marks. Pretty cool. I like the fact that it's new. But one thing I am noticing, let's see if I can get some light on it, right there. It's externally balanced. See the balance weight in there? You can't see it, but right here where my finger is, there you go. Right there is the balance weight. So this is an externally balanced crankshaft. My stroker that I have for the other one is all internally balanced. Okay, these are class participation videos, you guys. Since we're looking at our externally balanced harmonic balancer on your externally balanced crankshaft, what is your opinion on externally balanced engines? I know Chevy came out with that, I believe, about 1970, with a 454, and I think the most powerful 454 they ever built was in 1970. It was externally balanced, and there's been a lot of engines over the years running with an externally balanced crankshaft. I'm old school, I'm a dinosaur. I still like internally balanced for, you know, really race applications or that sort of thing, but evidently they're okay for street applications and occasional red light busters or a weekend drag strip. Anyway, what's your opinion? What's your opinion on externally balanced crankshafts versus internally balanced? If you're using an externally balanced crankshaft, not only is the harmonic balancer balanced, but the flex plate or flywheel is too. So right here, while we're talking about the subject, I have two. This is the one that came with the engine, and this is one off another project. And they look the same on the front side. I want to flip them over. But if you look here, we got the big balance weight, which is for an externally balanced engine. And we'll flip this one over. And as you can see, there's not any, so that's for an internally balanced engine. So make sure if you have an externally balanced engine, both the balancer and the flywheel or flex plate match. I decided to turn her over and let's look at the bottom end. Pretty nice oil pan, but it's nothing I can use as far as I know. I think this is supposed to be going in a truck according to the bill of sale, a 4-wheel drive truck. Nice pan just the same. We'll pull the pan and take a look and see what's underneath. This is a 010 block. That means it's a high nickel content block, and the numbers, the serial numbers say that it was built in Canada 1973 and came in a truck, 1500, 2500 or 3500 trucks, so I'm expecting to see 4-bolt mains. Okay, I pulled the pan, I pulled the oil pump. Has a nice aftermarket drive rod, and it's a nice pump. The only problem is I see it's bent. I didn't bend it. Nice pickup, nice oil pump. It's a shame I can't use it on the Nova, but we'll use it for something else. And as expected, or it was sort of expected, I guess it does have 4-bolt mains. Nice looking rod bolts. Looks like a nice set of rods too. And let me get a flashlight. Hang on just one second. I see something else. There we go. If you can see that, it's a coated piston. The skirts are coated. See the black coating on there? So I'm guessing these are probably not forged, but they're probably hyper-eutectic, which is much better than the cast and not quite as good as a forged. Perfect for a good strong street runner though. Hyper-eutectics are pretty good pistons. The handwritten note I got says that this is a scat crank, but I'm looking at the work and it just doesn't look like anything scat. This end over here of the crankshaft has obviously been balanced. Almost looks like Swiss cheese, there's so many holes in here, which is fine if they had to balance it and do that. That's understandable. What really bothers me though is right here. These balance holes right here. Those edges are as sharp as a razor. Right where my finger is. That doesn't look like scat's work. My experience with scat has been all pretty much positive. I haven't never had any complaints about scat. So we're going to have to dress off those razor sharp edges right there at the least. My guess is that since he bought an unbalanced rotating assembly, he took everything to a speed shop somewhere and they balanced it, and that's their work. That's another reason why I suggest when you do this, make sure you buy a rotating balance assembly from one manufacturer. or at least take it to a machine shop that does really first class work to get your balance work done. I'm going to go ahead and pull the balancer, and then we'll flip her over on the other side and pull the heads and take a look and see what we have there. I want you to take a look at this balancer. This knucklehead beat the crap out of it trying to get it on. You don't beat these things on with a hammer. There's a special tool to put a balancer on there. Yeah, beat the crap out of that. So much for a good balanced balancer. Look at there, he's flattening that side right there. There's a tool for this dude, and it's not a big hammer. Okay, I've marked all the roller rockers so I can put them back in the same place, just in case I decide to reuse those if they're okay. 1357 2468, exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust, exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust. Typical small block Chevy. On a positive note, we've got new guide plates, Manley 42 355. It looks like we have new retainers, new locks, new springs, and if you look at the pattern right there on the top of that valve, it looks like the push rod length was correct. That's right in the center. So there's something positive going on here. At least maybe the headwork was good. I got a question for you. See the valve guides? Underneath the valve guides is some kind of washer. What's that all about? You guys give me a hand here. Alright, since we're having so much fun, we'll throw a little more at you. It has guide plates, and Vortex heads don't come with guide plates, nor do they have screw-in studs, where they've machined the heads, added the guide plates, the screw-in studs. As I mentioned earlier, new retainers, new springs, new locks. And look at here. Somebody's done some polishing on the intake ports, on the runners. So somebody's done some headwork. The headwork looks a little bit better than the assembly work. And the combination of parts that this guy used. Vortex heads are for low-end, lower RPM applications. They're torquer heads. They're not made for camshafts that run upper mid to high range. So the heads and the camshaft don't match. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that, other than the builder doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Okay, I just pulled the head bolts. I loosened them in the same sequence that I would when I torqued those. I don't know why. It's just a habit I got into when I was young. Starting out, the old man taught me that. So I was anxious to pull the head. So we're going to take a look and see what the pistons look like in here. Actually, that's loose. So let's grab a head. See what we have. Okay, we have flat top pistons. Let me pull the camera loose here. Flat top pistons with valve reliefs. That's not what I wanted to see. You have 64 cc chamber Vortex heads, and with flat top pistons, your compression ratio is too high for a 1960 Chevy. She's not going to run race gas, high octane gas. She wants to run on pump gas, so I'm not real happy about that. Again, he's going to put this in a four-wheel drive truck. I don't know why wanted to use such high compression pistons. But they're 40 overs. The casting on here is a 906. That's the number for a Vortec head, a true Vortec head. Another way you can tell is by the heart-shaped combustion chamber. Looks like a heart. That's true Vortec head, heart-shaped combustion chamber. I measured the gasket, the flattened head gasket, and I got 40. Let's see if I can focus on that. 40 thousandths thick. Flattened head gasket, 40 thousandths thick. So there we go. So again, we're into pretty high compression. You guys tell me, that kind of compression, can you run some pump gas? Everything I hear, they're saying no, but maybe you have more experience than I have. Chime in. As we move along, I failed to mention, or I failed to give you a view of the oil pan on the inside. I see some assembly lube. The red looking material back there looks like honey. Of course, some oil. As you can see, this thing isn't really very clean. Looks like he built it in a barn or his backyard or something. Not too good. And we're going to take another look at the top of the pistons here. These are H860CP, 40 thousandths over, 31911-04-A. I'm not sure what that code is, probably when they were manufactured. So I'm going to have to get online and see if I can find out some more information on the pistons. I haven't measured the height. I don't know if they sit below the deck or not. I'll do that later. It's not at top dead center and they're a little below deck right now, but we'll measure that later to get some kind of static compression ratio figures for this engine. See the two shiny spots, the silver spots on the cylinder wall? That's metal from the rocker arm. There's metal everywhere, little pieces of metal where it got into the engine. Let's see, here's right here on the end of the bolt. See the red right there? Red pieces of metal, two of them, rocker arm. Right here on the crankshaft, right there, another piece of red metal, rocker arm. Just metal and trash all in the engine. This thing was doomed to die before it was even born. Very dirty build. On top of that, there's just, looks like grass. Little pieces of grass everywhere. There's a piece of metal right there just picked up off the end of my finger. Not real good. But we're going to fix it. Hang on. I pulled one piston to take a look. Look at that insert. See all the little specks in there? That's metal. Some of it's already embedded in the bearing. That's what's called embeddability. You still don't want it on a brand new engine with 20 minutes of running time. It's just a lot of trash, a lot of metal. I got a late start today and I'm getting kind of hungry, so I want to wind this down. I want to pull the timing gear cover before I quit though. I want to see what's behind there. I'm hoping a double roller, but at this point, who knows? Let's pull the cover off and give you guys a quick look. Well, so much for that idea. I don't have sockets to fit those bolts. So we'll resume this where we left off next weekend. I'm going to show you one more thing right quick before we call it a day. Look at the wear pattern on these push rods. Right at the top where the guide plates were, or right here. It's got a flat worn out on it. Can you see it? I don't know what the crap's going on there, other than it doesn't fit right. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll resume next Saturday. See you then.